The film opens by describing the legend of the Tears of the Moon. They are magic petals that come from a special tree that comes with healing powers. Sometime in the mid-16th century, Spanish conquistadors led by Don Lope de Aguirre make a voyage to the Amazon to seek the tree out. Aguirre loses most of his men and is left on his own. The legend states that he was found by local villagers and later condemned to be a prisoner of the jungle. London, 1916. MacGregor Houghton is attempting to convince a Royal Society of Explorers to fund an expedition to find the Tears of the Moon for research and medicinal purposes, but the group sees it as a waste of time and is only based off a myth. MacGregor's sister Lily sneaks out while he stalls the group as she goes to the archives of the group. She manages to find a crate containing a special arrowhead that is the key to finding the Tears of the Moon, but also seeking it is German aristocrat Prince Joachim. Lily almost makes it out until Joachim calls her out. She tries to escape on a ladder, but Joachim almost causes her to fall until MacGregor stops a bus to let her drop and make her get away. After they get away, Joachim kills the other men in the room when his identity is revealed, and the curator of the archives tells him who Lily is. Meanwhile, Lily and MacGregor make plans to find the Tears of the Moon, or Lágrimas del Cristal, on their own. In South America, a tour guide named Frank Wolf is taking a group of people on a ride across the river in his boat, L'Aquila, which is comprised of a bunch of tricks that Frank had set up. He also engages in many lame puns, to the chagrin of the passengers. Frank manages to steer them clear of rough waters. Lily and MacGregor arrive nearby to seek out Nilo Nemolato, a harbor master that will provide them with the boat that they need to take their voyage, based on a map that Lily has carried that will take them to the tree. Nilo finds Frank, who owes him money, and when he doesn't have enough, he takes the engine from Frank's boat as collateral. Frank sneaks into Nilo's office when he is out to try and get the engine back, and Lily goes up to the office thinking she is talking to Nilo, but Frank tricks her and attempts to convince her to hire him for the expedition to the tree. This almost works until MacGregor appears with the actual Nilo, and Lily starts to make her leave. The bar they are in is then terrorized by a jaguar, which Frank manages to get to leave the building with a piece of meat. This convinces Lily and MacGregor to join Frank. Frank leads Lily and MacGregor to his boat as he attempts to put the engine back. But another problem occurs. Lily gets kidnapped by some locals for Joachim, and Frank sails the boat out with MacGregor to escape Nilo's men. Fortunately, Lily manages to escape her captors fast through an elaborate run around the dock and is finally picked up by Frank and MacGregor in the boat. As they sail away, Joachim is informed that Lily wasn't captured, so he orders his men to surface the submarine. He's adamant about getting to the tree because he thinks it will aid Germany in World War I. First, Joachim shoots at the boat, but when that fails he aims a torpedo on them. With a slick maneuver, Frank saves the boat from the torpedo as the submarine's propeller gets caught in a rope and it's hurled toward the dock, destroying all of Nilo's ships. Frank and his passengers are finally on their way toward the magical tree. While MacGregor isn't quite enjoying his time in the scorching sun, Lily loves every moment of being on the river. She gets excited at every creature roaming around the boat and films all she can with her handheld camera, including the burly Frank. He's a curious man, so he has a go at the camera himself, revealing a possible attraction toward Lily. She doesn't give him much time to relax, however, and demands that he direct the ship toward a more dangerous, but faster, route. Frank gives her a hard time about it, though since Lily insists, he decides to let her have her way. Later, Frank anchors the boat for the night so the engine can rest. MacGregor turns in for the night, as Frank and Lily spend a little bit more time talking on the deck and warming up to each other. However, MacGregor has an unfortunate encounter with Proxima, leading the big cat right up to the deck. The siblings discover that the jaguar from earlier is Frank's pet named Proxima, which he used as a pawn to convince them to hire him. Lily is upset. Joachim and his men find an underground cavern where Aguirre and his men are imprisoned within the earth of the jungle. Using river water, Joachim frees the snakes that are part of Aguirre's body to request his services in seeking out the arrowhead. Aguirre agrees, and Joachim's men flood the cavern with river water to reawaken the conquistadors. The trio come across rough waters and nearly go over a huge waterfall, but Frank manages to get them on a path to safety. They make it to land and stop for a moment. Lily goes through Frank's quarters while he talks with MacGregor, who reveals to Frank that he was disowned by his family and from society because he is gay, and Lily was the only one who stood by his side, even if she can come off a bit rough around the edges at times. Lily comes across several maps of the tree among Frank's belongings, leading to a confrontation where she accuses him of seeking the tree for himself. Moments later, the three are knocked out by darts. The three find themselves captive to a native tribe. Frank speaks their language and attempts to deal with them as they request the arrowhead. Lily refuses to give it up and tries to make a run for it, but it is then revealed that the tribe know who Frank is and take part in his ruse. Lily is infuriated with his constant deception, and MacGregor follows suit in punching him in the face. Sometime later, Lily asks the chief to help her translate the markings on the arrowhead. She tells Lily the markings mean that the one seeking the tear of the moon must turn water into stone and mend broken heart. The tree must be under the rare crying moon to produce the special bloom, which according to the woman will happen in 2 days. She says that to get to the tree one must follow the serpent that bites its own tail, an image that Lily remembers seeing on the map and promptly finds there. Lily thinks that she can get to the place with a canoe and without Frank, so she pays him the rest of the money. That night, the village gets attacked by the cursed conquistadors looking for the arrowhead. Frank, McGregor, and Lily each fight a different conquistador. One of them manages to snatch the arrowhead from Lily's neck and give it to Agira. The conquistador tries to flee, but Frank stops him and struggles with him for the artifact. Agira stabs him, and before he falls down through the trees, he steals the arrowhead back and throws it to Lily. The chief saves Lily and McGregor, getting them safely down and telling Lily to run by getting out of sight of the river where the conquistadors can't reach her. As Lily runs, Aguirre's snakes catch up to her and grab her. But before he can do anything to Lily, the jungle drags him and his men back to the river. As the conquistadors gather themselves up, they realize they need Joachim's help to get to Lily. One of Aguirre's men sends his bees to the prince to inform him of their situation. The following morning, Lily finds Frank, happily thinking that he's alive and well. When the chief and McGregor show up, he notices a dagger protruding out of Frank's back. Frank has no choice but to finally tell them the truth, that he was actually one of Aguirre's conquistadors. Before he can explain anything further, Lily has to pull out the dagger from his chest. When she takes it out without hurting Frank one bit, McGregor faints after witnessing it. Lily later wakes him up to say goodbye, since she will be traveling the rest of the journey with Frank alone. Meanwhile, the cursed conquistadors' bees arrive at Joachim's submarine and he welcomes them inside. One of the bees shows him the location of the arrowhead on the map, and they manage to have an entire conversation to the amazement of his subordinates. Back at the boat and on their journey, Frank and Lily talk about his life during the last 400 years. He was previously known as Francisco and was the cartographer on Aguirre's voyage, as they had grown up together like brothers. Aguirre sought out the tears of the moon to cure his sick daughter. After most of their men were lost on the voyage, they were found by the villagers, who used the petals of the tree to heal Frank and Aguirre, and the remaining men. Aguirre became impatient and demanded the tribe's chief, Pedro Lopez, tell him where to find the tree, but he was deemed not worthy and killed the chief in retribution. Frank helped the chief's daughter secure the arrowhead, and in the chief's dying breaths, he curses the conquistadors and dooms them to be bound to the jungle and never able to leave. Throughout the decades, Frank and Aguirre encountered each other repeatedly and fought countless times, so Frank set up a trap to lure the men into the cavern away from the water, keeping them trapped in stone for centuries. Frank would set up the nearby town and meet many people that he would outlive, and so he has been seeking the tree to finally die in peace. He built his boat and searched the entire river, finding nothing, until one day he just stopped looking and began giving cruises to tourists. Over the years he kept finding strays, as he calls his big cats, and kept taking care of them one after the other, ergo the name Proxima, which means next. Meanwhile, Prince Joachim catches up to McGregor with his submarine. He takes McGregor in and blackmails him into sharing the location of the tear of the moon. McGregor shows him the location on the map, and Joachim kills the conquistadors' bees so they don't share the information with their master. As Frank and Lily are sailing towards the same location, he tells her what will happen when he finally gets a petal from the tree. He says he would have two choices, and he will take the one that will finally grant him some rest. The next day, they arrive at an impasse at the river, and Lily thinks that they have reached the point where water turns to stone as the arrowhead stated. Frank dives into the river and finds an ancient chamber with a lever, but dives back up to tell Lily that she will have the misfortune to open it because he can't fit inside. She freaks out a little since she can't swim, but eventually Frank convinces her that there is no other way and they dive in together. Once she's inside the chamber, she pushes a lever that closes the door, and when she panics, Frank gives her a little boost of air by kissing her. Lily manages to push the ancient lever down, while Frank is swarmed by piranhas. The water begins to run out of the cove, but Lily has no way of getting out until the water is fully drained. When Frank finally gets to her, thinking that she's drowned, she awakens and slaps him for leaving her under. As they get dressed, they realize that they've found the location of the tree, but there's one more problem revealed when the rest of the water drains from the cove. Joachim arrives with McGregor in tow. He makes them enter the passage, and they try to decipher the scripture. Frank and Lily discover that the arrowhead is meant to be a heart, and inside is a jewel that acts as a key. It brings the tree to life as the moon is rising overhead. Joachim and his men attempt to secure the petals from the tree, but they are thwarted by Lily. Aguirre and his men arrive and attack Joachim with his snakes, while Lily runs to grab one petal as the moon is passing through and the other petals quickly die, but she grabs the one she needs. Aguirre fights Frank on the boat as he steers it toward a wall to block the river, but he first tells McGregor to tell Lily that she is world enough for him. Joachim comes back to attack, but McGregor fights him and knocks him against a wall, causing a pillar to fall and crush Joachim. The boat crashes into the wall and stops the water from flowing, permanently imprisoning Aguirre and his men, but Frank as well. Lily brings the petal to Frank to revive him, and it doesn't appear to work at first, but Proxima roars as she sees that the stone around Frank crumbles. He is alive, but his immortality is gone, and he can now live normally. He and Lily share a kiss. The trio return to London, where McGregor tells off the Royal Society to their face that he rejects their application. Lily takes Frank on a tour across London as she shows him how to drive, but he is not very good at it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.